This season, Instacart has your back to school. As in, they've got your back to school lunch favorites like snack packs and fresh fruit. And they've got your back to school supplies like backpacks, binders, and pencils. And they've got your back when your kid casually tells you they have a huge school project due tomorrow. Let's face it, we were all that kid. So first, call your parents to say I'm sorry, and then download the Instacart app to get delivery in as fast as 30 minutes all school year long. Get a $0 delivery fee with your first 3 orders while supplies last. Minimum $10 an order. Additional terms apply.
We acknowledge the traditional owners of country throughout Australia and recognise their continuing connection to land, waters and culture. We pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. Welcome to This Song Is Yours, a music podcast where we chat to a new guest each week, talk about their life and creative endeavours, and talk to them about some of the music they love. Our show works by chatting to our guests about music, their songwriting techniques, and occasionally getting them to make you a playlist of the songs they love. Welcome to episode 134. I'm your host, Simon Fink. Our guest today is Patrick Droney. The singer-songwriter is currently on tour in the US in support of his brilliant debut record entitled State of the Heart. In today's episode, we're speaking with Patrick about his life on tour, Miley Cyrus's Wrecking Ball, and some exciting news about new music. Here we go. Our guest today is an up-and-coming singer-songwriter based out of New York City. Combining pop, soul, rock and blues, he's recently headed back out onto the road in support of his brilliant debut record, State of the Heart. Please welcome to This Song Is Yours, Patrick Droney. Good evening, how are we?
I'm doing well. How about yourself? Thanks for having me.
Of course, doing well, thank you. Patrick, where are you? I know you're currently out on the road and joining us from tour, which is very exciting in 2022. Where are you joining us from today?
Today we're in Chicago with a day off. We played Minneapolis last night and heading to St. Louis tonight. So just a little day off, trying to get some laundry done, some relaxation. But yeah, it's been about 6 shows so far on the tour, and it's been incredible. And we're going till April, so a lot ahead of us.
I was going to say, having a quick look at the schedule that you have ahead of you, you're definitely not taking 2022 lying down. There are quite a few dates across. I think there's your own tour. I believe that there's a tour with Need to Breathe. Is it Need to Breathe?
Yeah, Need to Breathe.
Yeah, and then Bonnaroo in June. Well, yeah, you're out on the road quite a bit this year.
Well, it's, I feel like I didn't take any breaks at all through the last 2 years, just really willing this album into existence. And now that, we have the ability to get back on the road, it really is just all systems go. And my number one priority is getting in front of my fans and seeing everybody, and having these moments live is so special because it's so much of part of who I am. But yeah, we're definitely no rest for a couple months at least.
Do you have a favorite? I imagine, like anything, there's always good and bad things in touring. But do you have a favorite thing when it comes to being on the road?
It really is. It's like it's every night being in front of, you're in a random city and you don't realize you have friends. Like, people. I walk on stage and I see all my friends, and it's just so crazy that we can show up in Kansas City and play to a big group of people who are singing every word of my songs. And I think it's the same but different every night, because you see how people, based on whether it's like where they live, they kind of have a certain energy, or how, the crowd's different every night. But I think just that consistent new friendships, I feel every night is so special. That's my favorite part.
It is a very exciting tour. You've got both Morgan and I think Paris Jackson as well was joining you on this tour. Have you toured with either of them before?
I have not. I've been a friend of Morgan's for years and just a big fan of his music. And Paris is a friend of mine as well, and I love her music, but we have not toured. So this is just a blast to, like that, sharing a bill and creating an evening for people it's kind of an art to curate a night, and I love their music so much. And Morgan's off to a fantastic start. He's is a big voice to go after for sure. But it's just fun. We're trying to create a really safe space in these rooms for conversation through the music.
Yeah, that's very, very cool. I think well, from what I've seen, from overseas here in Australia, everything online, it seems like the record really has kind of connected with people, and it's resonated, or has resonated, because I guess even seeing some of the fan interactions on social media and everything else, that State of the Heart really seems to have landed really well, dude. And it is a gorgeous record.
Thank you. It's a funny thing. I don't think it would be the same record that it is had it not come out in the time it did. I think the first song off the record that was released was The Wire, and that was right at the beginning of 2020. And as we started pulling away from not being able to play shows, I had to really kind of renegotiate my why. Like, why am I making music? What is my purpose here? And I realized it was a real responsibility to try to bring people together through, the records and the songs themselves. So I really had a high purpose in making this record and putting out, songs kind of dose by dose. We kind of stretched this release out for a long time. It gave the songs a chance to permeate and gave people, a chance to kind of imprint their stories within them. So now that we have a 20-song album out, we put the deluxe out as well. It's really there's a lot of music, and there's a lot of people who are grabbing it and making it their own. And it's a dream. It really is. And there's a high level of, I feel like, emotional intellect in my fans. I feel like, I give and then I receive. They give me so much back, whether being vulnerable with their stories as to how it connects with them, or just the willingness to show up for me, has been very moving. But it definitely has felt like an organic landing that is just kind of, I feel like, just the start, but very, very grateful.
Yeah, of course. It is a difficult time to come up as an artist in the last 2 years, just because for musicians, there's previously been a structure in place, and then with the pandemic, like everything else, I think everyone in the music industry was knocked back a little bit. How have you found? I know you've been writing and been a musician for a long time, but having to release your debut record in, I guess, such an uncertain time, what was that kind of process like? And I guess how did it compare to what you thought it would be like?
Yeah, it's interesting time for all of us making music. Any artist will tell you it's like the Wild West out there, and we're just every day trying to be malleable and move to the ways that we can promote our music authentically. And, for me personally, my whole life story has been nonlinear. Like, my career from the early days of being a young guitar playing kid who was torn with my heroes, it was never going to be easy or simple or linear. So I never expected it to be cookie cutter. I definitely didn't expect this, but in some ways, this has been I always say it's been a long journey to the beginning, and State of the Heart is a beginning. But there's about 15 years behind it. And I always felt like when I really wanted to make that big statement of a full length record, I wanted to have something to say. I wanted to have, life behind me to speak from. And certainly I feel like I have that. And with the time we're in, I just felt like, okay, this is the why. This is why I'm supposed to put out a record right now like this. It's some of that is kind of ethereal, but I do feel like things happen for a reason, and State of the Heart had its time, and this is its time. So, every artist in every generation, they had their time. They were who they were in the time that they had, to make their music and make an imprint. So this is our time, and we have to claim it.
100%. The record is gorgeous. I think my favorite is When the Lights Go Out. I caught that on, I think it was the Colbert performance, which was this gorgeous kind of blend of the whole record itself, really, and then this song as well. This gorgeous blend of rock, pop, some soul, some blues, like the guitar solo.
Yeah.
Do you remember when you first started to pick up your initial influences when you were first starting out and and starting to write music?
Yeah, it's funny. I can really trace it back so specifically to like my earliest memories of my dad, showing me like BB King live at the Regal, Ray Charles, but at the same time, the Eagles songbook and Jackson Browne and Springsteen, and like great guitar players, and then great songwriters. And I definitely felt like I became this kind of amalgamation of all of those things. Realizing, well, a great guitar solo only counts within a great song. And, I always remembered that. And I guess, now that there's definitely an 80s energy in what I do, I'm a sucker for some big power ballads and, all that Don Henley solo stuff. And, it's just, we're all kind of, it's where we all come from. You kind of end up being a mesh of all that. But for me, it was really clear. And a lot of that had to do with my dad just kind of like bottle feeding me all that stuff.
Patrick, I know your dad was initially a session guitarist himself, and then I believe went on to be a doctor. Now that you've kind of taken and like those same steps, but like touring on the road, doing all that, those kind of things, does he come and jam with you, or does he come and play at all?
I have a secret. I wore the wrong foundation for years. Then I discovered Il Maquillage. Their AI-powered quiz makes it so easy to find a perfect match, customized for your unique skin tone, undertone, and coverage needs. With 600,000 five-star reviews and 50 shades of flawless natural coverage, this foundation is going viral for a reason. And with Try Before You Buy, you can try your full size at home for 14 days. Take the quiz at ilmaquillage.com/quiz. That's ILMAKIAGE.com/quiz.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
Yeah, it's really like the joy of music for me is sharing it with my dad and feeling like I picked up where he left off. And it's been just a real bonding thing for me. That's where it started. That's what it will always be. And my dad's a great guitar player, and we have a lot of fun every day. Just, I'll send him videos from the tour or new songs, and he'll send me a critique, or something like that. But like, for instance, like for Talk About That on the record, that solo, I FaceTime my dad, and like we basically did it together. Like he kind of helped me produce that solo out, and Rough Boy on the album is a big highlight for me with Billy Gibbons. But that started by my dad, showing me that when I was a kid and telling me stories of him playing that in New York City. And we're playing Irving Plaza next week, and I'm bringing my dad up in New York, and we're going to play Rough Boy together. And that's going to be very full circle. So he's always in my periphery here with music, and I can't wait to play with him on Thursday.
That's actually so exciting. I look forward to seeing footage or something along those lines.
Yeah, there'll be some videos for sure. Yeah, definitely.
Now, you're, I believe, based in New York. Obviously not right now as you're on tour, but usually based in New York. But you've also spent time in both LA and Nashville. How do you think the three kind of compare musically?
Yeah, I definitely say like I'm kind of a tale of three cities, especially with this album. I'm primarily based in Nashville from a work standpoint. In New York, it's just my love. I mean, there's nothing better than New York City to me. So, I went to college in New York and cut my teeth, and moved to LA for a couple of years, and then it was Nashville. I think each of them offer something different musically, but a lot of it is kind of intrinsically built into the place itself. Nashville is very community oriented as far as songwriters, and storytelling still being kind of the top of the pyramid. So when I moved to Nashville, I was really entered a space where like I was able to articulate my story, which included my time in New York and my time in LA. LA it's fascinating. LA is a very interesting place musically. I find it to be a little little more disconnected than Nashville, but at the same time, there's this allure and shine and gloss. And there's some amazing people that I collaborate with in LA. And New York to me is just a place that always has my back. And musically, there's a grit. You know, if you've ever lived in New York, you've survived something, you know, and the city's kind of, wherever you go, the city's with you. And I carry that with me for sure, but they've all been super important in how I've kind of ended up where I am, and musically as well. But it's also very nuanced as to just wherever life happens to you, you know what I mean? It really influences how you see a city. And life certainly happened to me a lot in all those places.
I personally did not realize how music central Nashville really is. I think from an outsider's perspective, we here in Australia know that Nashville is quite a musical city, but having visited over there in around 2017, it really is, a good percentage of people there are songwriters, musicians. Almost every corner is people. Well, as you said, people trying to cut their teeth, working to, trying to work on their craft and make that next big step.
Yep. It's humbling too, because, you know, the guy on the corner probably plays better guitar than I do. It's like everybody is so great and striving. And, you know, it's very unique in that way, where it's like the industry in that city is music. And there still is a lineage of, like I said, the storytelling being the point. And it's a totally genre bending city as well. I think, for a long time, it was just kind of put in the country bracket, and that's kind of it. But I mean, everything is coming out of Nashville, and it's incredible. It's an incredible place in that way. But yeah, it is wild. Everybody plays music.
The tour, as we've mentioned, did recently kick off. I think you're about 5 or 6 dates in. To celebrate, you recently released a cover of Miley Cyrus's Wrecking Ball, which is an absolute classic. And I feel that it does suit your voice really well. I feel like the kind of grit and what is some of the gusto.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, of your voice. It really does kind of take on this whole new thing with the track. What was the reason behind picking that particular song?
Sure. I mean, kind of had this idea. Well, I really enjoyed a couple of years ago. I did a Spotify single for Christmas, and I did a Mariah Carey cover of All I Want for Christmas Is You. And, you know, I'm kind of one to if I'm going to do something, let's grab the hardest thing or the most, you know, got to rise to the occasion. And Mariah certainly was that. How do you touch that? And it was just an incredible experience to redefine it and make it my own and put it in my world. So I felt like it was time to do something again, and a little something fun before the next, you know, Patrick Droney single comes out. And, you know, Wrecking Ball was always I just in awe of that chorus. It hits you like a wrecking ball. It makes me drive faster. It's always been this is incredible. And my friend Sasha Scarbeck is one of the writers on that song. And I remember sitting with him and just talking to him about it, and just what is it like to have that kind of record, you know, where it was just massive. I mean, massive in so many ways. And as I dug into the lyric, I just was like, this lyric is just very, very dense. It's very emotional. There's a lot of color in it. And I thought, in the state of the heart perspective, that I could tell that story, you know, in my way, and try to just deepen the meaning and just kind of make it a little muscular, you know, with the instrumentation, really heavy live drums. And, you know, I didn't throw the kitchen sink at it. I did keep it decently open compared to some of my productions, but it was really a lot of fun. And I was really glad to see everybody really liked it. But those things are humbling. You're trying to put new clothes on an amazing song.
It's where was it? I think there was a clip on Instagram where during the recording, you're working with your drummer, who's doing this incredible drum fill right near the end of the song.
Yeah. So that's Travis McNabb, and he is a legend of a drummer. And we actually co-produced this together because it just became so clear that the drums were just such a huge driving force. And Travis has a very long history of being a part of a lot of amazing records, but he's just a beast. He's a powerhouse. And behind me on stage, just like, I feel like I'm being propelled by his kick drum. And yeah, I just thought I got to film this because I'm going to want to remember it. And it was really fun to put the music to it and just watch him do that fill again. It's one of my favorite parts of that song.
It is a great cover. And
thank you.
And the drum part is, like, as he said, it takes on like a muscular kind of shape to it. And when it does get to that drum part, I always kind of find myself doing like a little bit of air drumming in the car or wherever I am listening to it.
That's what I like to hear. Mission accomplished.
As you just mentioned, I know you have been in the studio a little bit, and with State of the Art coming out last year, can we expect some new music from you soon?
Yeah, so as par for course, I'm right back in the saddle, and I have a new single coming out on March 11th, actually, called "All Loved Out," and it's rapidly approaching. And I did this song with my friend Daniel Tashin, who the first self-titled EP I did was with Ian Fitchick, who is often Daniel's production partner on those Casey Musgraves records. But Daniel's a genius, and we've been friends for a long time. And he and Sarah Buxton, who is on Ruined and Nowhere Town, and I guess that's why I'm calling. She's just one of my big collaborators. We all wrote this song that just ended up being such a vibe. It's very, very musical and groove oriented. And I just was like, we got to put this out. So we're right back at it. And I'm really excited to kind of start the new era. The funny thing is, it's hard for me to think about something not being on State of the Heart, because State of the Heart is so defining to me. And, I don't think I'm going to do a State of the Heart 2, but I kind of feel like State of the Heart is now just kind of forever for me. Everything I do is under in that lens, because it's just kind of my team colors,
I can very much understand that. I think, especially because it's been such a big part of, it's like your life in general, but especially for the last 2 years, and the establishment of Patrick the artist. Like, I imagine it would be difficult to simply not that you'd simply cut it out, but to separate it, like if that makes sense.
It's impossible to just say, okay, that's that era, here's this era. It's just my life. It's just me. And State of the Heart as a song is so representative of so many things for me, but the heart in general. And if you dig through kind of how I've talked about a lot of this music, with the themes and everything, it's just so ingrained in me as a person. So all that to say is State of the Heart will never die. And I'm excited, but I am excited for new music, and we're actually playing All Loved Out on this tour before it comes out. And it's really fun to show the crowd something new that they can, they know they're going to hear very soon. So it's great. I'm just, grateful to be able to put out music. That's all I really care about.
I can very much appreciate that. Patrick, usually we would ask our guests what they're currently listening to, if there's a particular single or record at the moment, or whatever it may be that's on high rotation for yourself at the moment.
Oh, that's a great question. I'm gonna open my Spotify. Let's see, what have I listened to recently? Well, there's the records that I always go back to no matter what is, Jeff Buckley, Grace. I'm on the bus a lot right now. So it's like, that's kind of my end of night, put that on and drift off. A lot of the National. And as far as new music goes, it's not terribly new, but the Big Red Machine record, that is the Desners and Matt from, and Justin from Bon Iver. Have you heard their stuff yet? That band they put together?
I have heard. I haven't heard so much of this second record. I have heard bits and pieces from the first album, which I thought was really, really good.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's the first record that I'm listening a lot to, and there's also just tons and tons of music every day coming out, and it's hard to keep up. But and also when I'm making my records, it's hard for me to listen to music because I'm so easily influenced. I love things. I'm like, oh, we should do something. Let's put that synth in there. Let's do this, So I kind of, corner myself and say no music. But But oddly enough, Wrecking Ball was a tune that I somehow listened to on the ride home from the studio a couple nights. So maybe that was in the back of my head.
I can definitely understand the not wanting to listen to other kinds of music so that it influences the record. But yeah, some very solid choices with Jeff Buckley, which is always a classic, and yeah, the National, who always seem to deliver the goods of their records.
Yeah.
Patrick, thank you very much for joining us today. I do appreciate it. Congratulations on State of the Heart and the tour.
Thank you. I can't wait to get over to your side of the world and play some shows.
Please, can we expect any possibility of seeing you here sometime in the next year or two?
Absolutely. We're as soon as we can, we'll be there. And it's just like we talked about, day by day, just rocking with the changes. But we cannot wait to get to your side of the world. And for now, this is just amazing to have a conversation. So thanks for creating the space to have one.
No, of course. Thank you very much for coming on the podcast.
Awesome. Well, we'll talk soon.
That's our show. A massive thank you to Patrick Droney for his time. State of the Heart is out now, and we've left links in the show notes if you'd like to see him on tour in the US. We also want to give a huge shout out to Rick and Jenny at Warner Records for helping out with today's interview. If you like this show, please subscribe wherever you get your pods and stay up to date when new episodes are released. We release new shows each Wednesday and Friday morning, and we now have a Patreon, which you can find within the show notes of this episode. You can follow the playlist profile on Spotify, and you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Until next week, cheers.